Finally, the anticipated My Villain Academia arc has finally arrived at last, but that censorship though. Welcome everybody. I suppose y'all been waiting for that Villain Academia arc for a few months now since they announced that Villain Academia arc was going to be put on hold and they're going to switch the arcs in this season, which was a big letdown at the time. And since then we had to go through episodes of the Endeavor Agency arc, which wasn't all too bad, but let's be honest, the season was on a downward spiral from the fandom's perspective. But now that's all behind us, and the previous Saturday My Villain Academia has finally begun after 10 freaking years. So I would normally do my typical My Academia review for each episode that's been released, but I decided to tackle something that bothered me and the manga readers that saw this episode. Now, from the point of view as a fellow manga reader of this anime, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, the censorship. It was kind of let down to see the censorship that was present in this episode, especially the scene in the beginning of the episode where Shigaraki was being experimented with the shock treatment. In the manga version of the scene, this guy was squirting blood out of those punctured tubes that were installed right into his body by the doctor. Now, did that ruin the experience for me while watching it? Well, not necessarily, but it was a bit of a bummer. Also, another big part that was censored renewal from the manga in this episode were Jiron's fingers. So I'll break it down. In this episode, we get to see a Jiron. I don't think I'm saying his name right, but whatever. He works in an underground business as a broker for the League of Villains, who is now being held hostage by the Liberation Army. In the scene when the League of Villains received a call to check the news, where they saw the reports of fingers being placed through the cities and landmarks, where the anime showed off the fingers, but was censored where the fingers are covered in a white with a black background. All the fingers form together, forming an L sign as they transition to the caller through the phone, who is the leader of the Liberation Army, making a signature L sign while calling the League of Villains. Now, in the manga, the set of events happened for the most part similar to the anime adaptation to it, but there was a catch where the anime censorship strikes again, as I mentioned before. So in the manga, where it presents the news forecasting the appearances of Jiron's cut off fingers, they were showing in the manga the skin and flesh of those missing fingers being presented on the scene. It was all there for the eyes to see. While reading the pages, you could see the dried up blood on the bottom of those cut off fingers that was removed from someone's hand, which happened to be Jiron's. And you can see yourself, just go to Google and type up My Academia chapter 223. Also, as I said before about the L hand sign in the manga, it wasn't censored, and you could see the cut off fingers forming an L sign, showing out the background of where those fingers were placed in the public. With those two events that were censored heavily, there was actually a small censored scene from the episode, which I forgot to mention. It's a scene where the episode has Shigaraki resting for a while after facing Gigantomachia after many attempts. He's worn out and looking messed up, having to battle it almost 24/7 with no proper sleep time or rest time. In the manga, it shows Shigaraki in the same stance whilst resting a bit, just like in the episode. However, in the manga, you see that Shigaraki is seen way dirtier, especially on his face, compared to what we saw in the anime. He's been roughing up badly. There's smudges of blood over his face and on his hands mixed with debris. I don't understand why they decided to slightly censor something like that in anime. I might be nitpicking here, but bro, he's been fighting this guy for like months already with no rest time, so I expected him to be like all battered up and bloody, which in the manga he looked battered. I mean, it's not even a major scene to be worth censoring compared to the chop off fingers, which is pretty understandable why it got censored heavily. But why even bother slightly censoring Shigaraki's bloody, muddy face and hands? It doesn't really make much sense because he was fighting Gigantomachia for a month and a half straight. You expect him to be bleeding into a pulp all dirty and bloody, just like his manga counterpart. It's pretty disappointing, and I'm sure they'll probably censor more scenes for the remainder of the arc on certain parts, which I won't say specifically for the respect of the anime only watchers. That said, I do have a manga panel in my mind that I've been waiting to be seen getting the anime adaptation. But seeing these censored scenes that occurred in this episode, I'm kind of worried the panel that I've waited to be seen animated might get a censored treatment because the panel has blood involved in it. And I'm hoping they will not censor it, but might receive it, which is a big possibility at this point. If I had to rate this episode, it would be a 6 out of 10 rating because of the censorship putting it down, but it was enjoyable to watch. I still have high expectations for this arc, and this is only in the beginning, so we had to wait and see how the rest of the episodes play out till we as a viewer make our opinions on Villain Academia once it's wrapped up. I know some would say yeah, it's just the beginning, which is very worrying because these censorships are happening right now in the beginning of the arc, so we should be worried how the arc will unfold. Would you be correct to think that? And I had some thought of that too. But even so, seeing blood is something that's shown in the anime before, and this time the censored scenes were brought to cover up some bloody gory scenes. But as of now, I remain at least optimistic, since at the time this video upload date, the rest of this arc hasn't aired yet. So until then, we will see how the anime handle this arc and hope this is just a one-time thing. And one more thing before I leave this video, the certain scene that I just talked about that might get the censorship treatment might appear in the next episode as things look. I'm saying this just by seeing the preview for the next episode, which may be shown here or in the episode after that. Whatever the case, I'll get back to that certain scene in my next anime review of the series and talk if it got anime or not really because of the censoring. Until then, I have nothing else to say, and I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please give this video a like, and if you want, consider subscribe to my channel for more My Academia content, and also follow my Twitter down in the description below at akip, and see you all next time in the next video. Peace.